And now, this will actually work. The millennials. Well, we've been talking about them all day, sort of as if they're from Mars or something. And we do encourage you all to get married. How many millennials are married here on the stage? So, we're moving on. 25%. 25%. It's a lot of eligibility here, so no, I was kidding. I'm going to just ask each of our panelists to do a very short introduction of themselves, who they are, where they work, what they're focused on. We'll just go down the line while we do that, and then we'll jump into this whole millennial phenomenon and what does it mean. Kelvin, I'm going to turn my mic down so I'm not standing up while you're speaking, but would you start for us?
Yes, of course. It's a real honor and pleasure to be here in front of you guys. My name is Kelvin Chang. I'm with Cole Baker Dynasty. I'm the broker. Thank you. I have a lot of support from my agents over here, so I really thank you all for coming. The thing we have branch offices in Arcadia and Temple City, so we are in the San Gabriel Valley. And just a little bit about me, I do volunteer a lot of my time in getting involved in the local association of realtors. So I am a board of director member. I serve as their treasurer, and I used to be their vice president. I'm an incoming CAR director for 2017, which is really exciting.
Cool.
And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Excellent. Great. Welcome, Kelvin.
I am Erin Mills with ERA Donahoe Realty in Temecula. I am your married millennial. Mother of two. I've been in the business for 11 years. So I've seen the up, the down, the in-between, all different types of markets.
Great. Welcome, Erin.
Greetings, my name is Naira Jennings, and I'm a part of Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage and powered by Zip. Out of the Arcadia office, we do have offices, of course, in Beverly Hills and Irvine, etc. I have been doing real estate for 12 years. Started when I was 18, actually. And experienced, again, the high, the lows, and have seen the increase in technology in all aspects. And
Cool.
also, I also have a bachelor's of science in political science, and I went to law school for 2 years. So.
Excellent. All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Noah McDon. I work at Century 21 Peak. We're in the San Fernando Valley, Woodland Hills, Granada Hills, and North Hollywood. We're looking to expand. I've been in the real estate industry for 4 years now, so fairly new. So mine's been in the upward trajectory, but I look forward to seeing what the market's bringing and what we can do as millennials to really bring the next coming of realtors. So.
Cool. All right, good. Thank you. So I'm going to just start with a really simple question. And I think it's real easy to talk about boomers and Xers and millennials as if we really know what all of that means. You know, as if we're just tied up in a neat little bow. But it's sophisticated. I mean, there are generations within any generation. There are older and younger boomers, older and younger millennials. So I'd like to just start with the simplest observation each one of you has, which is, you know, if there is a millennial way of thinking about being in real estate, what does it mean to you? What makes being in real estate for you more millennial way of doing things as opposed to any of the other generations that are out there? And I'm going to start on the end just to make it wrap back this way. So Noam, what's millennial about the way you work and why?
I think as millennials, we really are all about change, right? And change is a big thing for us, where I think some of the older generations are a little bit more in their ways, and you know, one day you have Facebook, the next day you have all these different trends and technologies that are coming, and they're coming quick, and our generation is very adaptive to change.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the things that's changing in our industry right now is being able to adapt to this change, these new websites and all different kinds of technologies that are coming out, and how do we use them and change and adapt to them in a fast enough pace to really stay along with the millennials and get ready for that up and coming market in our industry.
Right. And you know, even amongst those types of technologies, some of them are quite old. I mean, we might even call Facebook old now, right? It's 10 years old. Today there's an article about Twitter that might be up for sale, and you know, they made it sound like it's ancient. It's 10 years old, you know, and now they're going to sell it. Well, it'll become a Disney thing, of course, so you never know. Talk to us a little bit about your perspectives in terms of being millennial. How does it affect how you do what every real estate professional has to do, but which is prospect or build client relationships?
Well, definitely you want to build a personal relationship with that client, and in many ways you find a way to do so through social networks. You're getting a lot of leads online now, opposed to yesterday's market where you would get the buyer that would, or the consumer who would drive by and just contact you and say, hey, I want to submit an offer. So you're now having to definitely respond to these millennials sooner than yesterday's market. Marketing, you're going to have to market yourself much more. You know, the social networks, you have to be in front of them. You have to respond to the emails that you're receiving in a rapid manner. So our millennials these days are currently looking for a faster pace, an immediate response, and you have to be there in order to respond. So that's it's all about building a personal connection with your consumer.
Can I follow up on that for a second? Do you think you're more inclined towards building relationships with other millennials, being a millennial, or equally comfortable, with boomer clients or senior clients, for example?
Well, for me, and I can only speak in my experience, I've noticed that it's equal. For me, it's pretty equal. I'm able to work with a baby boomer the same I am with a millennial.
Right.
So the millennial is definitely, it's easier on that level for a connection to be made.
You have some things in common.
Definitely, we have a lot more in common. The baby boomer definitely feels as if we should, they test our knowledge a little more. So
You whippersnapper.
you better, yeah, you should definitely know your stuff. So.
Especially if it's a $479,000 property and that's just the entry condo, right? So, definitely. Cool. Aaron, talk to me a little bit about, being in the business 11 years, you obviously started when it wasn't really dominated by a lot of millennials, and more young people have come into the business. What's different for you? Like, how did you see when you started to where you see today with your career?
Well, when I started in real estate, I was the youngest in the office, in the whole franchise at that time, actually, and it was constantly brought up. Oh, just like you said, little whippersnapper. When I first got in the business, I wanted gray hair. I wanted to be 45, and,
Wait a minute now, hey.
I had to prove myself a lot to clients that were typically my parents' age.
Right.
And so now millennials my own age, like she had said, we have the thing in common, but also I have the experience to be able to sit down with the older client that's going to test our knowledge. But again, the millennials, they have access to all the information right at our fingertips on our phones, and so they want the quick response.
So it sounds like almost two kinds of testing. On one hand,
Yes.
You're getting the experience testing and are you knowledgeable? On the other hand, you're getting the information testing. Do you know what's going on? Do you have access? So Kelvin, talk to me a little bit from your perspective about what makes being a millennial professional a little different than others that you see.
Well, that's a great question, and I'll give you the perspective that you're looking for, because I also, like Aaron, I've been in the business 11 years, so I got my broker's license 2005. I graduated right out of college from UC Berkeley. My roommate's right here sitting in front of me from Berkeley for 2 years. And
By the way, do you notice that all the millennials brought their cheering crowds? So that's pretty cool.
So I jumped right into business. That's my point. I kind of knew I was the one person who raised their hand when they said, "Oh, did you know you're going to be in the business?" I knew. Why? My father's a developer. He's a real estate. He does a lot of stuff in real estate, and I kind of grew up seeing houses and seeing just a brick and mortar, seeing the sticks, and to me, I thought that was normal. I see a total mind shift in how I see the attitude of agents between the baby boomers and the millennials. The old approach, and I'm not going to say like a dinosaur or the old school, but I'll just refer to old school way of doing things. I noticed that it was very Mike Ferry. It was very numbers driven. It was, hit 100 doors, you're going to get a couple of yeses. I'm not seeing that kind of business model in the millennials. What I'm seeing more, and I'm seeing the transition of, is it definitely has to build on relationships. It's how are you building your network? how are you connecting with people? What is, basically people are looking at who's able to build their Facebook, who's able to get out in front of people and network and have the image of being a professional. Not necessarily being a professional, but the image. And
that's great. Do you want to pick up on that? I see you nodding in terms of like building image and building relationships.
Definitely. I mean, your reviews are very important.
Testimonials.
Definitely,
reviews,
testimonials, reviews. That is actually one of the number one things the millennials actually look at.
Right.
They go onto your site, they Google your name
Right.
to make sure that you are really knowledgeable about your business. So definitely reviews, comments, making sure you're well known, and as you stated, even if you're not doing really well in the market, I understand exactly what you're stating. You definitely want to make it seem as if you are.
Right.
So you want to put your name out there. You want to advertise, market as much as possible as a millennial, because you do have to prove yourself more in this marketplace as a millennial.
And I think about what Jamie Wilson said this morning, when he was talking about Amazon. And how many people have purchased something from Amazon? I'm just curious, how many people have purchased something since Jamie's speech on Amazon? Because I did at lunch, I was like, wait, you reminded me that I needed something. After reading product information, what's the first thing you read on Amazon? You read reviews, right? And millennials clearly are keyed into reviews as a good way to sort of shorten the gap between years of experience and actual outcomes. Let's talk a little bit about what the most successful way you've been building your business has been, regardless of how long it's been. What are you doing now that's just a great way to build either your sphere of influence, your prospect pipeline, or even get into some markets where it might have taken 10 years before to establish your name there, but now you can enter those markets a little faster if possible. I'm going to start on the end with Tom.
So I think one of the reasons I was brought in is because the millennial aspect of things is really where we're heading, right? And I think one of the things that we're really investing in now, and we just got a new CMO, so new Chief Marketing Officer. So we're spending a lot of money now on SEO and really getting the image that we're trying to portray out there, right? And speaking of Amazon and companies like Apple, right? It's how simple you can make your pitch without making a pitch, right? And getting it out to the people that are really going to understand it and want to get more information about it. So a lot of what we do now is pushing out information through SEO and putting out our brand out there.
Right. Okay, cool. Who else wants to jump on this? We'll just go randomly at this point. So, Erin?
I would have to say building relationships is huge. As a millennial myself, the whole Mike Ferry type salesman, that's very intimidating to me. And it also varies with, each person's personality type. But just my age, if someone was to come at me and really push hard on sales, I'm going to get, very intimidated and want to back off.
Right.
So I really focus my business on building referrals. All of my business this past year has either been a referral or from a past client or from directly in my sphere.
Are you using a special approach to referrals, so rather than the dial for dollars, which we could use as an older model of just, I'm going to call 5 people a day and stay in my sphere? What would you say you do differently in terms of maintaining that sphere relationship? I mean, probably some social media.
A lot of social media, a lot of it. I post on Facebook and Instagram a lot, and I'm just in front of people.
Right.
And it's probably 50-50 business, personal.
There we go. And can I just pick up on that for a second? Because I was going to ask that question. Excuse me, like what are you posting? You certainly can't be posting every single day that rates might go up, rates might go down, things are expensive. It's clearly people don't hang on Facebook for that, right? So, what kinds of things give you traction amongst your sphere using social in general?
On a personal level, like for instance, today I posted that I was coming here. That would probably be like my business post for the day. And then 2 hours after that, I was stuck in traffic in LA, so I posted about that. Family things, kids, people react a lot to posts about my kids or
Can I ask some
what I'm
questions?
doing.
How many of the millennials use Windows here? Do you others do Windows?
I have
No, Mac.
50-50.
50-50
Our office is very Mac-based.
Yeah.
I mean, very PC-based, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
start the integration.
How many iPhones on the stage here? I'm just curious, how many iPhones? So 50-50? A little bit of Berries, okay, good. But no Blackberries, right? Because I saw a few out there during lunch, so I'm excited. But thank you for that. Calvin, tell me, what are you doing, or what would you recommend people do to really build that pipeline in a more millennial way than the dial for dollars, knock on the doors, first-time home buyer seminars, everything we used to do way back when?
Yeah, I hear you, and like kind of continuing from what I was saying, it's not about the numbers anymore. It's not about how much effort you're putting in. It's really about who you are. What is your integrity? What is your character? What are your personality like? Are you a likable person? Does somebody even want to spend and tour homes with you? That's the kind of things that I'm working on with people. I want to work on their skills. I want to work on communication and new development. I'm noticing the trend in today's market in real estate is not necessarily the numbers, like I said. It's about being real. People, I heard it mentioned right here. I don't want the Mike Ferry approach. I don't want to be pitched. I don't want to hear a sales pitch. Millennials want to hear they want to hear the honest truth. They want to know if it's a good deal or a bad deal. They want to know your opinion. They want to know that you care about their interests, about where they're going to move to, what neighborhoods, what their school district is going to be. That's the key. You need to implement yourself in their shoes and really just try to position yourself. I care about you and your family. And once you hit that, once you've triggered the point where you've put down their walls, they've opened up to you, they shared some of the concerns.
Right.
That's your ticket in the door. That's how you're going to do your sales. That's how you're going to build trust. And that's who the people they're going to want to work with. Okay, they're going to want to work with you if they believe in you.
Right. So interestingly, it's the same objective as salespeople had with other techniques in the past. Build relationships, build trust, build reputation, get those referrals, right? Because that's still the greatest source of business. Just do it in a slightly different way, maybe a more personal way. And one thing about social media is it really puts the person much more in front of the marketing than just, I've been selling homes for X years and I sold this many homes, etc. It's much more personalized in that case. In a minute, I'm going to ask if there are any questions from the audience, so get your thinking caps on, and we'll take maybe a question or two with this group. But I just want to ask one more quick question of the panelists from a millennial standpoint. This time, I want you to think about the millennial clients that you deal with, or prospective clients. There are a few out there, not many, but obviously we see an increase in household formation and some interest in home ownership. Let me ask the question that would be sort of fun for the audience. What drives you nuts about millennial clients? What is the thing that makes them so millennial that it drives you nuts? You want to start us off?
Lots of questions.
Lots of questions.
Which is good, that's good.
Right.
It gets really, really, really intense. They want to know. They want to learn. It's
Okay.
not just, let me just walk into this house and I just want to sign an offer.
Right.
It's, how many years have you been doing real estate? They want to know my life story.
Yeah.
They want to know about this house. What are the school districts in the location? Location, of course. Lots of different things. So it's really building a psychological perspective to that new millennial.
Mm-hmm.
It's a psychological behavior that you have to learn how to influence that millennial.
Right. Do you get a lot of those questions by text? I'm just curious, or is it?
Well, of course, you first get the lead online.
Right.
Most of the time. So your point is to convert that lead, of course.
To a converse
Exactly.
conversation.
So when you do convert the lead, then you can get more into detail in person with that person. Your whole goal is to bring them to the house, of course, right? To show home. And once you have done so, then yes, the questions do become intense because they want to know about you right then and there at the house. I don't bring my clients to the office. We first meet at the house that we are interested in. I know yesterday's market, it was let's meet at the office, let's drive around. Most millennials aren't doing that anymore. We are meeting at the house and we are discussing the interests of that buyer.
Right. They may have previewed
Previewed
everything.
right.
So, Kevin, what drives you nuts about millennial clients?
I actually like millennial clients. They don't really drive me nuts, but yes, I definitely know there's a trend and a tendency that the millennials have more questions. Just to piggyback on what you said, it's totally true. In the old school way of doing things, it was a people-to-people business. And I trust Matthew. Okay, I'm going to believe in you. You tell me it's a good deal, I'll sign. Where you just tell me where to sign.
Right.
It was just basically a trust-related business. Now the millennials, and then you know, everyone's about knowing how everything works. A lot of people want to know what's the system, what's the reason, what's the counteroffer. They want to understand every single option when the realtor is there, because they want to be trained and educated.
Right. Do you think they're skeptical, or they have some sort of holdover from the downturn? They might have seen their parents suffer through the downturn, and does that create some anxiety for them?
I don't think it's that they're skeptical about you. I think it's more about millennials just wanting to know the processes, and they have the mindset of being, multitaskers, about wanting to learn everything.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, one of the things I was going to share with you guys just real quick is multitasking is great. We have our cell phones, we have our tablets, we have all that stuff. But, don't multitask when it comes to you and your clients. Okay? Don't be, you need to focus. You need to be listening twice as much as you're talking. So you definitely need to hear their needs and wants and relay that and demonstrate that you have the ability, you're insightful, you're resourceful, you have the answers for them. All of that stuff, if you can demonstrate those things, you'll earn their trust.
What were you saying? I'm sorry. Aaron, and he's absolutely right. I mean, I actually was in a conference the other day where the great piece of advice was, turn off the screen when someone walks into your office. And it's kind of weird that we're at that place. We're sort of at this weird place where we have to remind each other to pay attention to the person who's right there with you in the car, but it's great advice. And I was just teasing with you a little bit. Aaron, what drives you nuts about millennial clients?
The texting.
Really?
Constant texting. Because in real
But I thought you all loved text.
Love
I thought
it.
you all loved it.
Love it when I don't want to talk to you. In real estate, there are some things that get misunderstood via text, and my millennial clients, I recently just closed 2 within the last week, and so they're fun to hang out with, they're fun to go show properties to.
Perfect.
I talk to them maybe 5 or 6 times on the phone throughout the transaction, and that was me calling them. Because I want to be sure that I'm clarifying the correct information to them, which, over text things can get misconstrued, misunderstood, especially when we're talking about a real estate transaction. So when I first meet with buyers, I do meet with them in my office. We go through expectations and all of that, and I ask them a ton of questions. How do you like to be communicated with? Whether it's a millennial, an older client, all across the board. But yeah, the texting
is a little bit much.
Yeah, especially 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, jeez, that's crazy. No, quickly, what drives you nuts about?
I don't think I would say it drives me nuts, but I think one of our biggest challenges is that everything is so quick and information is so readily available. Is why we want it, right? Why we want it so much, right? But you could be driving to show your clients homes, and by the time you get there, they've already seen 2 new houses that have been on the market that you haven't told them about yet, and 3 agents that are trying to get them, right? So it's a constant battle of being in front of your clients as much as possible, because everyone else is so easily in front of them, right? You can easily reach them, right? And it's amazing how fast it is. So for me, that's the biggest challenge: is how do we stay on top of our clients at all times?
Right, and this is really where Kelvin's advice is so powerful, that if everyone else is trying to reach them, even while you're with them, giving them your total focus is a powerful way to build that relationship. We have time for maybe 1 or 2 quick questions from the audience. If we have them, I'm going to can we borrow one of those?
Or since the millennials have access to all the information at their fingertips at all times, what is it that we as agents bring to the table for them? What do you think is the
What's the
biggest,
extra?
Yeah, what is our
What's
value
the extra?
add?
Who wants to take a
That
stab?
is a huge question. It's a very good question. We are faced with that every time we meet with a client because the information is so readily available. We have to prove our value every time we meet with a client. Proving our value can sometimes be difficult, but basically it's like, would you go to a murder trial without representation? Would you want to be just sitting there in front of the judge trying to plead your own case? When you use tactics like that with a client, a new client, especially when they think they've got it all covered, they've Googled it, they know all the answers about buying a house, and then you come at them with that, it's kind of like, okay, this is real, this is serious, this is a big deal.
Cool. Calvin?
Just to piggyback on your answer real quick, how can we add value to our service? The value that we used to have was the data. We used to control the data. We don't have that anymore. It's in front of them on Zillow. It's in front of them on all the websites. The one thing that we're going to have to add is our full service. What can we add to the transaction? Used to be, we would just be helping them negotiate the price, show them the home, introduce it, and close it, right? We need to add more value. How? You're going to have to be, probably, I'm going to give you some advice, I think you should probably have a little bit of concierge in you. So you're going to have relationships with maybe contractors. You want to have some handymen. You want to have relationships with the city. You want to help them walk them through and understand everything that they're buying. Have, termite estimates for this and that. That kind of value is going to help you build your trust with them and build your confidence in you.
Definitely. And anticipate it, so.
I really like to comment the knowledge of Calvin. Really knowledgeable. And he mentioned that it's very important for us to explore who I am and about focus on client, about trust and relationship. And also Niall has mentioned about in front of client. So when real estate is all about people, right? So I don't have a question, but I'd like to have just something to share. Has anybody here had joined landmark courses or landmark forum here? Okay, so you know what I mean. So landmark forum is about exploring who you are, create a new possibility for your future, for you and your client and everything, relationship trust. So just to give you an opportunity to find it out, to explore, and that for sure will advance your business, I guarantee you.
Cool. All right, well, I think all of our panelists, we're going to take one more? Okay, cool.
Question.
It's a question,
Yeah, question.
Hi everyone, thank you very much. My name is Teresa Gamon from Global Banker. I want to piggyback on some of the things that you guys have been saying, and also some of the things that Jamie Wilson shared with us this morning about technology trends. And that is, he demonstrated to us the way in which mobile use has taken over from desktop laptops and all that kind of stuff, and everybody's using apps, and obviously we're focused on millennials. And one thing that really struck me was, Jamie said this morning, today's millennial, they're not going to one brokerage, they're going to multiple brokerages. They're going to the big search engines, the Realogy.com, the Zillows, and a whole bunch of other places as well. Now, these are the clients that we're all working with today, or will be working with tomorrow. So what I'm interested to learn is, when your clients are seeking out 8 to 10 different brokerages, every time they look for a home and they're seeing someone else's face in their profile and their reviews and their phone number, how do you get them to stay with you without having to focus on every minute being focused on constant contact, if that makes sense? Because we can't always be in front of them every minute, every day.
Who wants to take a quick stab at this and kind of wrap it up? So, no? Aaron?
What company are you with?
Global Banker.
Zap.
Yeah, that's it.
How did you know?
Zap, zap, zap. My millennial clients, even my millennial clients are probably the most active on Zap. My millennial clients are also probably the ones that are most likely to jump ship with another agent. So immediately, I would say when you meet a client or you make first contact, get them on your Zap app. And the data that we learned this morning just backs that right up.
Cool. All right, no last word maybe, or? No, we're good. All right, let's have a huge round of applause for these guys and gals. Make sure you get their cards and stay in contact with them for